Hey folks, this is Kaladi. With 715 on the live servers, we finally get to play the game that is How the Hell Does Marksmanship Play Now? And I'll say it's quite a bit different. So we'll look at the talents, we'll look at the new stat priority, and then we'll look at the rotation. So for talents, we have very distinct differences between single target and multi-target, so make sure to carry a few tomes around with you because you might be swapping talents these days. So for single target, we're looking at Lone Wolf True Aim, which increases the damage of Arcane Shot and Aim Shot on the target by 2%, stacking 10 times. Limit to one target, so you can see how this is powerful on single target, and starts to lose value as you swap targets, essentially. Post Haste, Patient Sniper. Now the old one is now baselined, so no matter what you do, you're running with the Vulnerable, which is a very short duration and increases your abilities by quite a bit. Doesn't stack or anything like that. And that is now baseline, increasing damage by 100%, and then Patient Sniper, the talent, increases the damage that it does by 10% every 1 second, meaning that if you hit it with aim shot at the end, that does significantly more damage than at the start. Which comes to why our rotation is a little wonky later on. We're using Binding Shot, or honestly whatever you want on this row. For single target, we will be sticking with a Murder of Crows. You will no longer use Barrage on single target, so that's nice to see, I guess. And then we'll also be picking up Trick Shot. Now, you can play Sidewinders, you still can play Sidewinders, except it is a suboptimal spec in both single target and multi-target, meaning if you want to be the best, if you want to be running the best talents, you'll be running Trick Shot. Now, Piercing Shot has huge potential in AoE, but to use Piercing Shot properly, you need to pull 100 focus, and you need to cast it at the end of your vulnerable, meaning you're pulling for a good chunk of your vulnerable window, and then you have no focus afterwards to do anything else. You need to kind of ramp up again. It's huge burst, really good for burst AoE, but it's not that great for sustain, so Trick Shot is a brilliant go-to. Now, if you want to run multi-target for something like Mythic Plus, where there's a lot of trash, you want to swap to Lock and Load, Explosive Shot, Volley, and keep the Trick Shot. Now, what this does is give you the passive damage of Volley, the active damage of Explosive Shot, which is kind of crazy on huge AoE, and then because we can't really make a great deal of use out of True Aim on AoE, we swap it to Lock and Load to try and get some nice aim shot procs. So, we'll go through both rotations, I guess, show you how they're kind of shaping up. So we'll swap back to single target, and we'll look at stat priority, because something's changed here. We now have a haste soft cap, because we need to get a certain amount of aim shots into our vulnerable windows to get the most out of the way that we're going to play. And the way that we do that is to get at least 9% haste to allow the focus regeneration to give us enough focus to get those 3 aim shots off, typically in a vulnerable window. So 9% haste would be your bare minimum. 11 to 12% is working a lot better because it gives you a lot more wiggle room, and obviously it just feels smoother overall. Now for the stat priority, we'd go haste to 9%, then mastery, then crit, then more haste after 9%, and then versatility. So usually try and hunt that mastery and crit really after you get your 9% haste. So for single target, this is going to work with Wind Burst windows and Mark Shot windows, and these are going to play a little bit differently. Because Wind Burst has a little bit of travel time, you're going to get a little bit delay. So a Wind Burst window would be Wind Burst, Arcane Shot, Aim Shot, Aim Shot, Aim Shot. That's how that's going to play out. Boom. And then for a Mark Shot window, this will always be second, and we want to get to over 115 focus, and then Mark Shot, and then simply Aim Shot, Aim Shot, Aim Shot. You can see that is incredibly close with the haste values, which is why you need that breakpoint. Otherwise, you're not going to get that third aim shot in a Mark Shot window. Now, you just go between those two usually, and your opener is obviously going to make use of True Shot and a Murder of Crows. Now, a Murder of Crows should be used on cooldown. The only time when you'd want to delay this is if the boss is getting towards 20% health. Under that, you can use it very quickly to stack up Bullseye. Now we're also going to be using True Shot, which is a haste effect, so we'll get 4 aim shots inside our first Wind Burst window. To do that most reliably, we're going to Wind Burst, then Aim Shot, then Arcane Shot, followed by 3 aim shots. If you have another haste buff on top of that, such as the Bloodthirsty Instinct or a Bloodlust, you might be able to get out the 4th with Wind Burst, Arcane Shot, Aim Shot, Aim Shot, Aim Shot, Aim Shot. But if you do Aim Shot before the Arcane Shot, it's basically guaranteed to get the 4. So we're going to a Murder of Crows into Wind Burst, hit True Shot, Aim Shot, Arcane Shot, then the triple aim shot, get that window done, and then we'll go to our mark shot window, and then just triple aim shot from there. We'll delay these slightly, so we get that one right at the end, and then we just follow on from there with another windburst window into arcane shot, aim shot, aim shot, aim shot, and we just keep going. Now, if you ever need to AoE with this spec, basically we'll be using multi-shot to apply the Hunter's Mark instead of Arcane Shot, and then we get vulnerable on more than one target, so we'll apply that, and then we make use of Trick Shot, where Aim Shot will basically spread its damage a little bit to the other targets. So if you ever have an ad joining the fight, make sure you get the vulnerable onto him as quickly as possible, and then just continue your single target rotation, and you'll be cleaving the ad by itself. Obviously, you will need to use that multi-shot instead of Arcane Shot to refresh your vulnerable if the ad stays up for a prolonged period of time. Now, when you want straight AoE, obviously we're playing with a few different talents, so Lock and Load, Explosive Shot, Volley, and Trick Shot. We'll keep Trick Shot. Piercing Shot, obviously you can use if you really want to, but Trick Shot seems to be better for sustain, and we need to drag a few of those down to the bars. Explosive Shot, there we go. Make sure Volley's turned on. Obviously if it's not turned on, it's not doing anything. And then we also have Explosive Shot. So Explosive Shot it's a skill shot. So you fire it, and then you activate it again to detonate it, which can be very frustrating in some instances where there's a lot going on. So I'd say the best way to use Explosive Shot is to actually pretend you're a survival hunter, and we'll just stand on top of whatever we need to attack, because then you can just hit it twice and it instantly blows up, because it actually deals damage depending on how far away it blows up from the target. So if you blow it up too far away, you're losing damage. The only other part of this is obviously you will be using your multi-shot. So we'll multi-shot and then mark targets with the mark shot, and then the aim shot just kind of spreads. And the great thing about this is that we no longer have to worry about when those aim shots actually hit the target, because we're not using Patient Sniper anymore. Lock and Load actually replaces that. You want to use your Explosive Shot on cooldown, and just tap it twice if you're on top of the monsters, and it'll just instantly blow up in their face and deal a huge amount of damage. So that's how AoE is working. It's actually incredibly strong. I've run through a few Mythic Plus dungeons right now with this build. If you get any lock and load procs, you just fire them off into a vulnerable target, and it's really freeing, honestly, from the time constrained single target rotation, because you don't have to worry about your vulnerable anymore. So that's nice. As long as it's on the target, it's doing the same amount of damage. You don't have to hit them at the end. And our multi-target is actually performing quite well. So if you can nail this single target rotation, you should be in a really good place, and then obviously swap the talents around for any heavy AoE encounters or for dungeons, and you should still be doing a decent amount of damage. The only other thing that I wanted to talk about was the nerf to the True Shot relics, and that is the Quick Shot relic. Now, the first relic you add reduces it by 8 seconds, and then the second and third are 7 seconds. Basically, that loses a huge amount of value compared to what it was, and you're probably better off taking different relics, potentially. At least that means they're not worth hunting for. Now, when it comes to relics, remember that item level is king. If you have a higher item level relic, chances are it's going to be a bigger upgrade than what you already have, regardless of what it actually does. But try and hunt for the precision ones and the Windrunner's Guidance ones. Those ones seem to be the best so far. Or, maybe marked for death. Anything that is going to increase your DPS over something like the Disengage one or the Turtle is going to be grand. If it's a higher item level, just equip it anyway, and you should be golden. But that's it for this video, and should give you enough to start being a little competitive with your Marksmanship Hunter in 7.1.5. But if you do have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.